So I want to break down the game fundamentals. The reason is because we're entering spring. And I made kind of a joking comment in the WhatsApp the other day where I was saying spring through summertime is campaigning season, leading up to the fall to winter, which is cupcaking season. And a lot of times, if you look back at your previous cupcaking season, the reason you didn't have a girlfriend or any rotation or a stable is because you didn't really properly execute during campaigning season. So from March all the way to really the end of September in most major cities is when you have the most opportunity. Most people are out going to outdoor festivals, farmers markets, they're going to pool clubs, they're going to nightclubs, they're going to lounges. So this is the best opportunity to meet people in abundance. So I want to focus on the game fundamentals. We've been talking a lot about the mindset, and the mindset is the most important part. But now let's get really technical in the game. So everything we're going to talk about today is going to be just straight game, just straight lace game, open to close. There's the three pillars of game. Pillar number one is the understanding of the game itself. Pillar number two is the outer game technique, so how to actually game from open to close. Pillar number three is relationship management and or leadership, which is what Alex brought up. So we're going to cover all that. I'm going to glaze over it, and then whatever questions y'all have, because y'all are all pretty advanced, then we'll micro in on those. But I want everybody to take notes, and even if you feel like your game has been solid for a certain amount of time, take notes, because again, the ability to be at the apex level in the game and get consistent results actually is dependent upon your ability to execute the game from an unconscious level. And even Gurinder, who was with me for 3-4 months, or even some of you who've been in the program for 1 to 2 years, you got to understand you're probably not executing the entire game from open to close unconsciously, right? So there's little things like whenever y'all come out on boot camp with me that I can see that you do at different points of your interaction, questions you ask, things that you say, making the venue change at the wrong time, not giving the number at the right time, or failing to do it altogether, not following up to get on a date at the right time. All of these things are going to affect your game. And then, by the way, if you're off mute, please go on mute. And then you want to get really, really precise in a militant way with how you execute your game. So if you're taking notes, take notes, but the recording will be available later on after this call. Anyway, all right, first things first. The first thing that you need to do in the game is get down the understanding of what your value as a man is. I'm not going to speak too much on this because that's more of a mindset thing, but it's very critical. The first thing that you have to do is understand your value as a man so that you're not constantly second guessing yourself when you go out meeting women. You need to understand your value as a man. What are my worldviews, values, beliefs? What's my character, personality, and what are my behavior patterns? And then next to that, I would say, remember that the quality of my life is determined by my daily habits, routines, and rituals. So when you understand your value and you know what kind of man you want to be, who am I, what is my ideal self as a man, then you set in place the daily habits, routines, and rituals that if you do these things as leading indicators, then you can't fail in being the man that you want to be as a lagging indicator. That could be the mindset that you have, the level of confidence and self-esteem that you have, the character that then develops, the way in which you perceive reality and react to reality based off the mindset that you have, the personality that you have, meaning everybody wants to be charismatic, confident, bold, persistent, resilient, funny, easy to get along with, very sociable. Well, a lot of that actually doesn't come from outer game. That's a byproduct of getting the inner game dialed in. So if you want to be charismatic, happy, humorous, enthusiastic, and attractive, well, when you have your routines in place of wake up in the morning, tidy up my place, get in the shower, get fresh and clean, put on a nice outfit, do my daily hygiene routine, make sure I'm well groomed, looking good, smelling good, feeling good, clear skin, and then take care of my nutrition, drink some good spring water, get a green juice or a smoothie, get some nutrients in my body in the morning, maybe get a coffee or not, and then do my gratitude journal, followed by my affirmations. Go to work, handle my work day, kill it there, get off work, go to the gym, go to yoga or whatever you do, From there, go back home, do my evening routine. So tidy up the place, eat something healthy, get in the shower, get fresh and clean again, put on another outfit, do the grooming again, go back to the desk, do a visualization journal, priming the mind for what you want to create as your new reality. After that, get in the mirror and do affirmations, reaffirming that which you have visualized and that which you haven't given thanks for. After that, meditate, and these positive things that you've sent out, allow these things to come back to you as you're meditating, clearing your mind, opening yourself up for that energy and that frequency to come back to you. And if you do that every day, and then the last thing would be, I've done the whole routine. I have this Mac-ish energy. I'm feeling good. I'm looking good. I've done all my work for the day. I have a clear mind and I'm vibrating at a high energy. Let me step out for 90 minutes during the week and see if I can socialize, network, and meet a woman who meets the qualifications that I'm looking for. And if you do that 3, 4, or even 5 times per week, without fail, your mind will grow, your emotional wellness will become more whole and more grounded, your spiritual development will deepen, your social network will grow and expand, and your physical fitness will become more astute. So if you do this in 3 months, you can radically change your life. So that's effectively pillar number 1, understanding the game and getting your daily routine in place so that you can actually invest in yourself and work on yourself to become the best version of yourself. And I want to say one more thing before we move to pillar 2. In pillar 1, another thing that you always have to do is take inventory of what are my insecurities, my limiting beliefs, and what is holding me back from being the best version of myself. When I identify these things, this is what informs the self-development practices that we engage in on a daily basis. So when you do your gratitude journal, you don't just write random shit on a paper. When you're visualizing your future success, you don't write random shit on a piece of paper. I look at what's holding me back. I look at what's been plaguing me, what has been making me feel lower emotions, depression, discouraged, anxious, worried. And I write these things down in a very clear way where I'm not avoiding the truth. Once I understand the truth in front of me, on the right column of that T chart, I then write down what I need to develop in my mind to reject and get rid of that negative thing, and then replace it with something that's going to be empowering in its place. So for every fear, we have to replace that with some kind of belief or some kind of mindset or ideology that is going to be empowering in place of that. So if I'm feeling concerned or anxious because of a lack of financial abundance, then I need to replace that with the mindset that's going to allow me to be more financially abundant in the mind and in my emotional body, and so on and so forth. If I don't like my body, I need to replace that with a belief to where I value my health and I feel that I'm going to achieve my ideal body, and I'm going to move towards that with vigor and enthusiasm because I'm now psyching myself into believing in it. That is how you create what do I do every single day through these practices. What I'm giving thanks for, what I'm visualizing, and what I'm affirming is going to be informed by that which is holding me back. And then every time you do the visualization, then you're creating the picture that you're going to be moving towards throughout this daily work. This is the biggest part of the game, but this is the most neglected part of the game. Why? It's because everybody wants a level of immediate gratification. Everybody wants to have their ideal partner next month. Everybody wants their ideal body next month. Everybody wants their financial situation to be abundant next month. But the thing is, we're not addressing what got you to where you're at in a place of scarcity in the first place. It's the mindset and the values and beliefs that you have that are creating insecurity and fear and doubt and worry and anxiety. It is the people that you're around that are holding you back because of their mindset. It is the activities that you engage in that are holding you back because they are disempowering rather than empowering. So when we address these things that are holding us back, it's a removal process. Then adding to it and helping yourself grow is almost natural And then you'll just accelerate and get into an upward spiral where abundance starts just happening. But the internal world determines the external world. It is very difficult, whether or not you believe the Wolf of Wall Street shit, where that dude was, doing cocaine and smashing hookers. It is very difficult to engage in disempowering things over time and think that your outward life is going to reflect abundance and positivity and high vibration things. Okay. So that is pillar one, get your life right. And pillar two, what we need to do is learn the game from open to close. Now I'm going to blow through this because I want to get your Q&A to actually go more in depth on the different aspects that are going to help you get results. But let's go back to the fundamentals. First and foremost, we have the open. Actually, let me back up. Before we get to the open, before we get in field, number one, you need to be dressed right. We covered that with the routine, but you got to be dressed right. You need to wear business casual to formal attire and present the best image of yourself as much as possible and have your grooming as on point as possible. Why? Because it's very difficult to get someone to see you wearing sweatpants with your nails untrimmed, with your breath stank, and then for you, okay, to think that someone's going to look at you as being very valuable and attractive, because maybe normally you are really well put together, but the problem is the first impression is a lasting impression. So you need to dress like a player every day, which is my saying. All right, that's number one. Number two, territory. You need to know where you're going. We have this conversation a lot in the group. You guys should have mastered this by now, but some people struggle with this. Why? Beats me. But you need to know what daytime venues to go to and what nighttime venues to go to. Okay. Now, most of us have a routine of work. So that means you have a corporate job or a business where you have a normalized schedule. So for me, when I was heavy in the game, I would have a 9 to 5 job. In the morning, I would go do my self-development stuff at a cafe where I know pretty girls would often go. So I would go to a couple different cafes, maybe 2 or 3, somewhat downtown near the office where I worked. I'd just post up, grab a coffee about an hour and a half before I had to leave. And I would do all my self-development work, maybe read. And then I'm gaining mere exposure of the women who work there, plus the women who frequent that venue. And I would get some, what we'll call it, just like leads from that, like some women who are kind of aware of me and interested in me. And then from there, go work. Lunch break, I would go hit Whole Foods, or I'd go hit like a little vegan restaurant or a trendy restaurant where people might be out around lunch, may meet some people there. But this is a lower volume thing, but still over the course of a year, it does pay out. And then get off work at 5, go to yoga, going to yoga 5 times a week. I met a lot of really attractive, really spiritual and physically well-developed women from doing that 5 times a week. Go back to the office, do my self-development routine, go home, get fresh, go out, and then that's when I would really campaign. Now, that's territory. Now, when during the week, you need to go. So ideally, you would know where to go Monday through Sunday. Not that you should go out Monday through Sunday, but just the knowing where to go in your city. Like if you wanted to go out on a Monday evening because you had the time, do you know where to go? Do you know where to go on Wednesday? And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday are the main days, and then Sunday probably afternoon. So you need to know where people are actually going. Now, Thursday through Sunday is the easiest to speak about. That's going to be, for me, lounges, upscale bars, and nightclubs for the most part. Daytime, I'm not a big fan of day game, but if I was going to do it, I'd probably go to a farmer's market, some kind of daytime outdoor festival, like kind of downtown art festivals where they have different kind of vendors. And then I would go to brunch. And for example, here in Fort Worth, Texas, you have the stockyards where that's as busy as Saturday night in Dallas. The stockyards on a Sunday afternoon is super high volume. So you need to know where to go. All right, boom. Now, once we get the territory down, we know where to go. We're dressed right. The next thing that you need to do is get your open down. The open is very simple, but there's a few technical mechanics you want to get. First and foremost, you need to get the attention of the person that you want to introduce yourself to. Get their attention first. And that could be from behind, from the side, or in front. Those are the only three ways you can approach. Now, a woman could be at a bar, at a booth, walking on a sidewalk, in a store, or on a dance floor, for example, or standing somewhere in a bar. But you can only approach from the front, side, or the back. When you approach from the back, you want to walk up, tap on the shoulder, take a step back or lean back, get out of their personal space so they're not startled. When you get eye contact, which translates to attention, vocalize yourself. Excuse me. Immediately go into your statement of intention. Excuse me. I thought you looked really nice, and I just wanted to give you that compliment. And then wait for their reaction with a smile on your face. You want to demonstrate that you're friendly. This is not like an aggressive approach. You know, you're not a weirdo. You want to be disarming as possible. This is very important to note because you got to remember, it's not your approach that's necessarily determining her first reaction. It is what she's used to getting from most men. Most men are underdressed. Their approach is creepy. They get too much in the woman's physical space, and they just make the woman uncomfortable. After that happens 2 or 3 times in an evening when she's out with her friends, she just gets over the idea of being open to meeting someone. And it's just, I have a boyfriend. Sorry, girls' night. Sorry, sorry, with my friends. Oh, we were in a conversation. It's just dismiss, because she's assuming you're going to be that weirdo. So we're going to disarm that by being intelligent with the approach. Tap, lean back, smile, eye contact. Excuse me, thought you looked really nice, and I just wanted to give you that compliment. Wait for the response. If it's positive, continue. If it's negative, anyway, just wanted to give you that compliment. Have a good night. Now, if it's positive, yeah, what brought you out tonight? So you want to go through the 4 logistical questions. What brought you out tonight? Oh, I'm just out with my friends grabbing drinks. Oh, okay. Who all are you here with? Well, this is my friend Stacy. That's my friend Sarah. Yes, indeed. Nice to meet you, Stacy and Sarah, by the way. How do y'all know each other? Let them all talk there. What are y'all doing later on? Are y'all just hanging out here or like checking out a different venue? We don't really know yet. We're just grabbing drinks and we'll see where the night goes. Yes, indeed. Yeah. This is my second time in this area. I haven't really been here too often. Or, you know, whatever it is you want to say, fill in the blank. But that's the 4 logistical questions. What are you doing out? Who are you here with? How do y'all know each other? What are you doing later? That gives you a sense of the women's availability. Now, again, what we just covered was the open, the hook, and conversation. Now, the 4 logistical questions, if you do it right, can last you anywhere from about 15 to 20 minutes. Because whenever they give you a response, oh, how do y'all know each other? Oh, from college. Where are y'all from? Like, you met in school. Okay, what school? What'd y'all study? There's a whole bunch of different questions you can ask in between each logistical question. If you're doing it right and being curious and exploring through conversation, that should last you about 20 minutes. If you're just going from question to question to question to question, you're going to make them feel like you're running through a numbers game, and you're not going to get good results doing that. Next, to transition from the conversation point of the interaction into what I call the interaction phase. So just for note-taking purposes, the structure of open to close is open, hook, conversation, interaction, venue change, pull, close. So we're at interaction. Once you get through the 4 logistical questions, you're identifying availability. So if they have finite plans, or in your getting to know how they know each other, or what they're doing later, if you realize they don't have any room for spontaneity for y'all to venue change and maybe even hang out later together, it's not a dead interaction. But what I would do at that point, if I realize they're not available for something to happen that evening, then I would just give my number and say, y'all seem like really cool people. Text me your name. And then you said you're free tomorrow afternoon. I know a really good brunch spot. So if y'all want to meet up, we can do that, for example, or tomorrow night or whatever it is that makes sense based off what you learned through the 4 logistical questions. And this is really important. In the 4 logistical questions, what guys don't understand is there's so many sub questions and there's so much information you can get in understanding what their agenda is and who they're around and what they're doing. From that information, you should be able to suggest where you want to go on the follow-up date, or what y'all could do tomorrow afternoon or night, or what kind of venues they would like to go to, so you can make a suggestion, if that makes sense. It'll also let you know if they likely have a partner or someone they're already seeing, and if they're open to even meeting someone in a romantic way in the first place. So that part right there needs to be mastered. And if you're real slick and smooth with it, that'll carry you very far. In the interaction, what you're identifying is ideally one of the women in the group should be choosing up on you at this point. Now, again, you don't want to choose a woman that you're attracted to. You want to choose a woman who chooses you always. So the woman who's most interested in you, you need to identify the signals. She's asking you questions, paying attention to you, keeping you engaged in the interaction. Whenever you make a suggestion about like moving to a different part of the venue, she's the one who's kind of like saying yes and convincing her friends to come along. That's the one choosing you. So then you want to focus your attention on her. You're not going to alienate the group, but you're going to kind of focus your attention on her throughout the rest of the interaction. You're going to sit more near her, engage her the most directly throughout the conversation. And if you have a question that you want to engage the group in, you start with her and migrate that around to everybody else, but you're showing a priority, and it's going to make her feel special because you're giving her the most attention, if that makes sense. Now, this is the woman who you want to get to know as deeply as possible, as I always say. So get to know the woman as deeply as possible by getting to understand categorically her past, her present, and her future. When it comes to the past, where are you from? What's your relationship with your parents like? What's your relationship with your extended family? Do you have siblings? What was your relationship like with your friends growing up? What were your previous romantic partnerships like? Where'd you go to school? What were your ambitions? What kind of brought you to where you're at in the present? Were you engaged in physical sports? Those kind of things. What brought you to where you're at in the present? You can also ask things about traveling and stuff like that, experiences. That'll tell you a lot about a person. Now I have a sense of who this person has been, how they got here, but now, okay, now I'm going to ask more emotionally relevant questions to her present reality. So you work as an accountant, you live in Boston, and you have your best friend there that moved with you from college. Your last relationship was a year ago. Your parents are in San Francisco. You have a sibling in Denver. Okay. How do you feel about these different things? I'm not going to ask that as a bulk question, but I'm going to peruse on those different things. Do you talk to your brother? How often do you see your parents? When you do, what do y'all do? How do you enjoy being in Boston, not knowing a lot of people? What do you and your friend like to do when you're there? How did your last relationship end? These are the things that I'm going to ask. So, Luis, to answer your question, whenever you're getting to know somebody, how do you do it in a social setting, but make it more intimate? By actually being interested and curious about exploring that person and their reality. So what I laid out, I made up, but I made that up from previous interactions that I've had over the past decade of just really going through patterns of knowing how to socialize with people and get close very quickly. And then from there, I would go more personal. So basically, the first layer of questioning and getting to know their present reality is understanding their present reality. Like, where are your people at? Where are you at? What are you doing? What do you do? Blah, blah, blah. Then I'm gonna start asking emotional questions. So how do you feel about that? What are you most satisfied with and dissatisfied with? Again, you have to work these in smartly into the conversation. What are you most satisfied with and dissatisfied with? What do you like most about Boston and least about Boston? If you could move anywhere, where would that be? If you could change careers, what would it be? Or if you could change anything about your career, what would that change be in your career? What are you most looking forward to in your career? Now we're moving from the present to the future. What are you most looking forward to? Okay, what are your fitness goals or health and wellness goals? What do you wish you could make more time for in your busy life that if you could bring it in, you'd be way more happy? What are you working towards in terms of your financial goals? When are you looking to buy a house? Are you trying to get into business? When are you going to start traveling? When are you looking to settle down with a partner? How come you haven't settled down with a partner? And what kind of partner are you looking for? And how come in your past relationships, you didn't find the compatibility and chemistry with those people? And what did you learn from that you're looking to do differently in the future, right? So these are all really good questions that you can cover from the conversation phase throughout the interaction phase. And in the interaction phase, one more thing I left out is you can kind of ideally you would want to venue change a woman, because the more the environment changes but you stay the same as a constant together, it creates a feeling of closeness. So if you can venue change 1 to 2 times, it makes a big difference in how the feeling of closeness. And remember, whenever you're meeting someone that you want to be romantically intimate with, you're trying to achieve 2 things. You're trying to achieve the removal of the feeling of separation. That's worth noting. And then you're trying to establish a feeling of closeness. You do that 2 ways. The first way is through the conversation of getting to know them. Think about it like this. Everyone who you feel close to, it's because they know more things about you, the things that you would normally keep hidden and or don't vulnerably express and share frequently. They know more of those things than the other people who are in their life in a personal manner. So if I know more about a woman than pretty much every other man who she has been involved with, she's going to feel closer to me than she did with those other men. And that feeling of closeness is what we often describe as love. So a lot of times when somebody says they love or feel in love with someone, what they're really saying is, I feel extremely close to this person. Not only close, but accepted, understood, appreciated, in spite of all the good and bad things that they may know about you. And then the second thing that you can do is, the more shared experiences you have with the person, again, you're tying in this feeling of closeness, whether it's venue changing, going on a date, going on a hike together, going to the botanical gardens, going to the farmer's market, going grocery shopping, cooking a meal at home, going to the movies. All these things, when you start stacking them on top of each other, make a person feel really close to you, and vice versa. You feel close to each other. Okay. Moving into pillar 3. So the segue of going from pillar 2, which is basically mastering the game from open to close, bringing new women to your life. Pillar 3 is about relationship management. But now, how do you get to the point of meeting and dating women to a relationship? Well, the best way to do it is to exercise your campaign, meaning open to close game, going out regularly. Exercise your game until you reach abundance. Excuse me. This does not mean you have to sleep with a lot of women. Could, but it doesn't mean that you have to. Truthfully, the game is about meeting women and establishing this feeling of closeness with women who choose you, that you have genuine chemistry and compatibility with. That's the key. When you meet 3 to 5 different women that are choosing you, that you have natural chemistry with, and compatibility, meaning shared worldviews, character, personality, behaviors, and future goals. When you meet 3 to 5 women who you have those qualities with, then the game is about screening and qualifying these women. What was I saying? Yeah, most people get together from a place of a mental, emotional, or financial place of codependence. And what you really want is to be independent first, so that whenever you get with your partner, you can have a synergistic relationship where it's based on what you're building together and what you're growing together, rather than you making up for these places where you're both deficient. You see what I'm saying? So anyway, you want to choose the right partner. This is very important. Like, don't choose a woman who's not able to be independent on her own. It just won't go well for a variety of reasons that we can talk about later. But find a woman who is self-sufficient, but is choosing you for various reasons that you have chemistry and compatibility with. Then in the relationship management process, well, if you're going to be masculine in the relationship, then you have to be the leader in the relationship. So number one, what that means is this. You need to have a purpose as a man. And I always draw a sheet of paper, and in the center of the paper, I write purpose. From the center of the paper to the top of the paper, I draw a line. At the top, I draw a line here. So purpose, line up. At the top, I put vision, tick marks down, and I write goal next to every tick mark. So your purpose is what it is that you're moving towards as a man, the thing that's driving all of your decision-making processes in terms of what you're moving for, what you're going to align your life for. Your woman can't be your purpose. What it is that you're trying to fulfill through your growth and development and through what it is that you contribute to the world is your purpose, basically, as a man. So knowing your purpose is important. And then knowing the vision that you have, and that vision can change, but the purpose doesn't change. So you may move towards a vision and then course correct and create a different vision. But the point is knowing your purpose, knowing the vision, and having a straight line and goals from where you're at to where you want to be in realizing or actualizing the vision is how you move forward in the process. Now, when you get into a relationship, if you don't have these things clearly aligned, then your woman is not going to trust you because she's going to know that you don't have any capacity to lead her because you don't have any actual direction for yourself. So then that goes back to self-development as we started with in the beginning. But once you know your purpose and vision and a sense of direction and you're moving towards that, then again, whenever you're screening and qualifying a woman, you have to find a woman who is okay and maybe even excited with following you on the path of the direction that you're pursuing. That's very critical. You can't have a partner who is going to be rebellious towards any aspect of you pursuing your purpose, whether it's you working too much or you traveling too much or you being too frugal with money because you're investing in the business or whatever that looks like, right? For the attainment of your purpose. The woman has to be supportive is the best word for you actually moving towards that. If you find that woman, you've gotten gold. There's no better partner that you can have. And by that, I mean, there's no better person that you can find in your life than a woman who is fully on board with by your side while you attain and pursue your purpose. Leadership. When you know where you're going, the first thing that you have to do is lead yourself. So going back to pillar one, when you create those daily routines, practices, and rituals that are going to move you in the direction of the attainment of the vision for your purpose, you're going to have to set a regiment for yourself that's going to help you grow and expand. Now, with your woman, I'm a firm believer, and this might be controversial, that the man, for the most part, should be in a superior, more well-developed position than the woman he's leading. But that would, it makes sense because why would you want to work for someone in a career situation who was not mentally, financially, emotionally superior to you and more experienced and more wise? I think if you're going to lead a woman to a place of prosperity, then you need to be in a more well-developed position than she is. But that burden of doing that is on you. So then your job then is you're leading yourself, number one, and making yourself better on a daily basis. But then you should be looking at your woman and helping to lead her and help her grow into more of her feminine energy, into more of her feminine power, and getting her self-development routines in place and making her a better woman. Now, this doesn't mean that she's your dependent. You're just giving her guidance from a place of, I'm going to use the word superiority, just meaning that you're further along in your journey than where she is, which is why she's looking up to you and is okay with submitting to your leadership. Now, here's the thing with this. If we're going to be honest, this is not most men. most men are not actually working on themselves enough to legitimately be able to lead a woman in the majority of areas of her life to make her into a better woman. That's the thing. So if that's true, whatever area it is that you need to work on yourself more to legitimately lead a woman where she can trust you, and in good faith, you can say, I think you should do this and you'll get a better result. Then work on that area more, gain more wisdom, experience, knowledge, and just competency in those areas. And I think that's how a relationship goes. And now what I think a woman contributes to a man in a traditional masculine feminine relationship is that number one, she's your mirror, and she's going to show you things about your decision making and your emotional groundedness, the things you react to. And she's going to be able to test and question you on things, which is not a bad thing, to help you be more sharp and more solid as a man. And then she's going to be nurturing, supportive. And I think the best thing that a woman can offer a man is just believing in him. Most men have never experienced what it feels like to have a woman that's in love with you, that admires you and respects you, and believes in the crazy dreams that you have for yourself. When a woman fully has conviction in you reaching the highest potential of your self-actualization, I don't think there's any greater force that a man can have inside of his life. It's an incredible feeling. It comes with tremendous responsibility, and the burden of being the man worthy of that is on you. Do you have to have a bunch of money? No. Do you have to be in the best shape? No. Best car, best house? No. But you need to be fervently moving along the direction and path you're headed to be worthy of that woman's submission and love and adoration and belief. See what I'm saying? So anyway, that's the game. That's the entire game. So I think for most of you, you're probably more so in pillar 2. Well, actually, you're always working on pillar 1, which is getting your routine in place of your self-development. Pillar 2, getting really technically sound in how you campaign. And then pillar 3, some of you are approaching that stage as well. So anyway, that's my rant.